Hi everyone, really excited for this live with Yvette from Life Her podcast. I'm going to just invite her to join. I'll be able to have her introduce herself, but this is really exciting. She has such a powerful story, and her audience is so inspired by her. So I'm hoping that the people who get to listen to this will be just as inspired by her as I am. And so we're going to wait for her to join. I'm going to give her a little bit of time just so she can get comfy and join in. But in the meantime, if you don't know who she is, you can follow her at Life Her Podcast. Her name is Yvette Lloyd. She has an inspiring story for how she even got into entrepreneurship in the first place, but then her evolution and what she's done with her journey has just been so inspiring. Let me try and invite her again. Sometimes there's like some trouble with joining, so no problem there. But I like how the light is just shining in here, very representative of the guest we're gonna have on the podcast, on the live. I treat it like a podcast, but this is really just a live, which I love. She should be joining in shortly. Let me try this again. Inviting you in, Yvette, so that we can get started. It seems as though we're having a little bit of an issue here, so let's try this again. Life Her podcast. Ah, yay.
I'm here.
You're here. I was like, oh no, it kept giving me the notification that you were unable to join. I'm like, no. She absolutely.
Yeah, what I did, I went back out and then I came back in. I was like, let me try this.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes for it to work. I've noticed on Instagram, there's like these little glitches, but we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm so excited to have you. I wore your branding colors, if you can't tell, some red and
Thanks.
black. Repping some Life Her podcast over here, and so are you. Your background is like that rugged black and red, which I love.
Thank you.
Awesome. How's your day going so far?
You know what's so crazy? I've been up since 4:30
Ooh,
because the first kid for my daycare, they were coming at 5:30.
okay.
So I've been up and then I ended up taking me a nap when some of my staff came. So I'm like, let me hurry up and take a nap before this interview so I won't be dragging.
Love
So
that.
so
Love
it's cool. It's cool. I'm refreshed.
got to get your little nap in. Power naps are life changers, to be
Aren't
honest.
they?
I agree with that. So let's get started. I know a lot of my audience was really excited to have you on. So I want to briefly get you to just introduce yourself and a little bit about your background and who you are as a person.
Okay. Well, of course, hello everyone. I'm Yvette. Most people call me Vet. And I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been a business owner since 2008. It all started off in, I'm sorry, someone was calling me. It started off with me owning a daycare center. So I started a daycare center in 2008. And then from there, I ended up starting a youth program for young girls. And that's what really embarked a lot out of me doing daycare because the girls in my program, they were young mothers. So for them to come to my program, some of them had babies and they couldn't find a babysitter or nothing. So they end up starting to come and have their kids come there. Then after that it just took off from there and I end up pandemic came, I stopped doing my youth program and I had a janitorial business. I just
Mm.
I be doing a lot. but
Wow.
but I love to inspire people. I'm always encouraging. I'm like that positive, encouraging friend that's always there for you and everything.
Yeah.
So that's
I
me.
feel that from you, that like warm, friendly, embodied energy. And so from there, you have these serial, you're starting your serial entrepreneur journey. Where does the Life Her podcast come in?
Life Her podcast came in with me and my mother. We were going to start Life Her in 2000 and I want to say 2018. Yeah, 2018. We were going to start it in August. So I started getting everything together. But then, no, I'm sorry, I take that back. 2019, we started it. And then later on in October 2019, she passed
Mm.
before we were able to launch it in January of 2020. So it took me a while to actually just launch it and everything. So I ended up doing it anyway. And I just been going from there. It would have been so amazing if she was a part of it.
Mm.
But
Isn't
she's
she
in
though?
this, yeah, in the spirit, she's here. And it has been growing ever since.
Mm.
Like crazy. Like I shared my journey through from start to finish. People automatically knew I lost her, and then a year later, in December 2020, I lost my husband. So that's how I mostly got a lot of my followers, and people started to like know who I am and love me because I was so like open and I'll share my journey with everyone and stuff. So that's how I mostly got a lot of my followers that I do have.
Mm. It's almost like people resonated with that authenticity,
Yeah,
you being so raw about your journey, because we're used to when we come onto social media, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, we see a lot of the the positive things that people are going through, and there's nothing wrong.
yeah.
it's
No.
it's not like everybody wants to necessarily show themselves when they're having a difficult moment or going through something.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do have people who are so raw and real about their journey, it makes us feel more human. It's inspiring, and people are starting to resonate with that side of social media where it's starting to be a little bit
Yes.
more authentic. And so, can you tell me a little bit about how you took that grief and channeled it into making something meaningful?
Um, well, during pandemic, everyone was losing a lot of people.
Yeah,
And then, we just lose people all the time.
yeah,
And I wanted to be like encouraging for other people, for them to know that, a lot of times when we lose someone, we stop what we're doing.
yeah.
And it's okay to stop. It's okay to take a break and everything. But I feel like it gave me some sort of superpower
Mm,
because it's like now that they in heaven, they can really look over me and look out for me, be there for me, guide me and everything. So I wanted to share so much of that part of me
mm,
because I wanted people to know that they're able to do it too. Some people grieve different, and I'm one of those people that do grieve different. But it did catch up with me.
yeah.
It caught up with me later on, like when I would say last year in November. That's when I really took a long break, and I'm really just now getting my feet wet, starting back podcasting again,
Mm,
because I realized that I was hurting internally
Mm.
after losing both of them. And then, you know, I was going to counseling. I used to watch different positive videos and everything after losing my mom and husband. So it helped me out a lot by like going through those steps of trying to make myself better.
Yeah.
But the way my mom raised me, she always raised me to like be strong, but be vulnerable and real about who you are. You know, if people accept it, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Mm.
But she just always taught me to just if you ditch out the things that about yourself before anyone else, that makes everything so much better and it make you feel better too.
Yeah.
So my mom used to always tell me that all the time. So I just been living by it. So
Mhm.
if whatever you see is me,
Yeah.
it's who I am, it's what I do. It's just I just love it, and I'm just glad that it didn't break me to a point into like a serious deep depression because I watched my mom take her last breath and I found my husband gone. So it was a lot for me to even just go through that and um see it. Sometimes I dreamed it. Some days I was up during the night because I was scared to go to sleep because it was like I had to relive it
Yeah.
again. So I'm up at night and then during the day I'm sleeping all day. So I had to like recognize and realize a lot of trauma ways that I was developing along the way. So
Mm.
I will say now one of my traumas that I've gotten a lot better with, usually when the like nap time for kids at my daycare, um, during that time I used to be scared because I used to think the kids weren't going to be breathing.
Mm.
Or if I babysit like my friends' kids or just anybody sleeping, I would be afraid to wake them up because I would feel like
Yeah.
they were gone, you know. So that's one of my traumas that I still have now, but I'm like coping with it a lot better and taking steps to if someone is sleeping or something. And I let people know that surrounding me, maybe you should do it, not me. You
Mm.
know, so I'm like very open and honest with a lot of what I do
Yeah.
and how I'm feeling because I express myself.
Yeah. I think that's very inspiring for a lot of people, because when we don't express what we're feeling, we do end up like resenting ourselves
Hmm.
subconsciously, and that creates trauma in itself. And
Yes.
even so far as creating illness in the body, illness in the mind. So I'm so curious hearing these impactful grieving events in your life. What do you think gave you the resilience to move forward?
It's a lot of things that move forward. Just I have a great support system.
Yeah.
You know, I have two cousins. It's only three of us girls in my family, and we really look out for each other and be there for each other. And we call each other sisters though. That's how close we are. So we're like sister cousins.
I love that.
So not only I was grieving, I know they were grieving too because they really loved my mom. You know, they
Yeah.
were really close to her too. My mom was close with all her nieces and nephews. So it was like we were helping each other along the way. And even in between that, it was like I'm still grieving my mom and husband, but I
Mhm.
still had my little cousin that passed away on a motorcycle accident. So I haven't even honestly I haven't even registered that yet. So it really is not there just yet because I'm still on like I was on my mom, now I'm on my husband and then it would probably end up being him most likely. It's like nothing really like settled in
Yeah.
and exactly when you believe it's there because I don't know, it's just how things work. But this just I just use like different things to actually get me through, and them two are like one of my main
Mm,
people that's just always there, or when I feel a certain way I express it to them,
mm.
but I usually do that.
I love that. I love that you have a good support system. And
Hmm.
it's I'm wondering if there's a tie between the fact that you've seen such benefit in having that community for yourself, having your two cousins, and then having these businesses or these like organizations that are geared towards community, like your podcast, where you're like having all of these different people on and building these relationships and different kinds of organizations. Like, do you think that the fact that you've had this community in your life has given you the desire to then give that to other people and keep forging these authentic and deep relationships with people?
Yes, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Just even like certain people sharing their own testimonies. When I share mine, they end up opening up and saying the things that they're going through or what they've been through. And then they ask me, how am I doing it? So it's very like encouraging for people to reach out to me. And it makes me feel better too at the same time, because a lot of times we think we're the only ones going through something,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like if somebody may be going something way worse, you'd be like, oh my God. So it's like I'm grateful for just even able to cope and deal with what I'm dealing with now,
Mm,
because I've seen some people that's way worse, like completely worse.
yeah.
So I'm just appreciating the walk that where I'm at and the strength that I have.
Mm,
Even if I don't have strength one day, I know the next day I'm gonna build it back up
mm,
some way, somehow for me to get there. But I'm not gonna dwell on certain things, because when you get the dwelling, it makes you sick. It doesn't help you at all. So I just find things that help me, and be around people that are encouraging. Like if you're talking negative and
mm.
you just not living your life, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I cut people off. I don't want them in my life at all,
yeah.
because it's like I'm in a different path, and I feel like people really should focus on themselves more instead of other people, so that they're able to heal. And the fact of when you get triggered, like figure out your triggers. Like a lot of times we don't sit there and figure out our triggers. So whatever is triggering us, we either don't be around that person, or don't do that again, or let people know how that makes you feel. Just different things like that.
Mm,
And you should like develop yourself a heal safe space in your personal life, so that you can have an easier way to like heal and move forward and everything.
mm. That is such a powerful message. And building on that, what advice would you give to someone who's trying to pursue their passions like you have in your entrepreneurship journey, and everything that you do in your podcast, everywhere that you touch seems to be with intention. And so what advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue their purpose, their passions, their desires, but they're also facing these personal losses, like grieving someone who was dear to them, for instance? How would
Mhm.
you tell them to move forward?
You only get one life. And what I've learned is, like my mom, for instance, my mom only been retired from her job for 1 year when she passed away.
Mm,
And when she passed, they gave us like her job gave us like this listing of like how much money she made over the years.
yeah,
And my mom retired making like 16 an hour working for the city,
yeah.
and she worked like 30 something years, and then she didn't become permanent of her job. until she was like, until I was like in the sixth grade, but she was there even when I was a baby, you know? So it's like, why, why waste your years not living it and waiting until you retire to live it? You should do things daily, weekly to basically do the things that you want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's like a road trip, just take that road trip, you know, and even if you find yourself not being financially stable to do it, well, cut down some expenses that you really don't need
Mm-hmm.
and make that happen for yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And even like with my husband, he did 21 years in prison, and he was home for almost 3 years, and he was in process of living because that's what we were doing all the
Yeah.
time. But at the same time, he was going in such a great path, starting a business, and I mean, he was doing amazing.
Yeah.
He was surpassing so many people. I was like, oh my God. And he was on his way that following week to Atlanta. He had a job offer making like almost $30 an hour,
Mm-hmm.
and he was going to go there. He was so excited about it. We talked about it and everything, and it was just like the next day he gone, you
Yeah.
know. So it's like when I with me experiencing how short life is and how everything could just pass you by making excuses like, I'm gonna do that next week, I'm gonna do that next year, I'm gonna start Monday, I'm gonna do this, like making so many excuses. It creates you to not make excuses no more and keep going. Even when it comes to failing, I failed plenty of times. I failed when I was running my business. Before I
Yeah.
failed in many things, but I still kept going. I still continued on. I didn't let anyone tell me nothing different, you know. And keeping your mouth shut is very important too. Like you know, you can't share everything that you're getting ready to do. You can't, and not until it's actually done, you know. So I've learned that too, to because you have people that go against of what you're doing and stuff, you know. So that's my advice to you, is just live life on your terms and just eliminate all the BS, you know.
I love that. It really sounds like you're intentional with your days, you're intentional with your businesses,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I am.
with your time, everything. And that makes total sense after losing people who were so dear to you. And I'm wondering, like, are you feeling emotional as we bring these things up, or how does it feel to speak about them in that way?
You know, I was so crazy. I think my defense mechanism, sometimes I smile. That's like one of my defense mechanisms when I feel like I'm getting ready to cry,
Yeah.
or I will like develop it and then somehow I magically let it just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like me actually knowing how to balance it out,
Yeah.
because even though I'm talking to you, saying things to you, if I feel like I'm getting ready to cry, I got another part of my brain thinking of something else for me not to cry.
Mm,
Be- So it's like back and forth. I have my moments though that I will just
yeah.
let it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. It's a journey. I mean,
yeah.
you don't just grieve for a few months and then it's like, ah, okay, it's over.
Hmm.
It's like it's a process, and I'm sure there are so many different kinds of cycles. And you did mention that, you have a strong faith, and you
Yeah, I
feel,
do.
yeah, you feel as though they're like watching over you in a certain sense. And I'm wondering where your faith comes into play when you're so resilient, and you feel so empowered, and you do all these cool things. How does faith come into play? What's the role that it plays in your life?
Well, me, I'm dealing with people and things. My faith comes from actually seeing my results.
Mm,
Actually knowing who I am within, and not letting anyone interfere with that. And a lot of times we have to understand, even though we fail something, it doesn't mean that it wasn't for us. It means God has something else for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And we have to understand a lot of things that don't work out isn't doesn't mean it will not work out. It means you're transitioning and something else better is coming. That's like a storm coming. Even though you have a storm and you're going through something, you have a blessing after that. But it's like during the storm, you have to really pay attention to what's going on in those moments because you're being taught something for what's to come,
Mm,
and you're being taught for something that you shouldn't do again. So it's many things in that process that where you should educate yourself to actually know what's going on and be calm. Like if you're not calm during a storm or if you're not calm during things happening, you won't be able to register it, you won't be able to focus, and you will find yourself all over the place. If you actually calm during the process, you'll be able to think straight and be able to realize what you need to do for your next step, you know? And that's something that's really, really hard to do. It took me years to actually get it. But now it's to a point, my discernment of people and how they are and everything, it's like extremely
mm,
loud. Like pop music loud.
yeah.
So it's like I be knowing how to handle things and go through things and understand the process. And after every storm I've encountered, I've elevated. I've became stronger. I became a lot more successful. Another thing is what I realized is when you do good for yourself, people don't like it. But when you still in the same position, they are happy that you are still in that position. So when I've realized how upset people get when you're successful and how you lose friends and
Yeah.
everything, I became very obsessed with it.
Mm, mm,
So now my aim is to always continue to be successful and strive for everything that's for me because I realize that God will position people in my life and he will remove people from my life, and you will see how your friend for 20 years would react to it.
yeah.
Um and they will become like envious or jealous, or they
Mm,
become supportive. So it helps you in many ways. You just got to look at everything in a positive way and not think it's bad because it's what God does for us.
mm,
He's always with us.
mm.
We just got to recognize it.
Yeah, you talk, that's so interesting what you were saying about discernment and how that has like really helped you in life. And I'm wondering, is this discernment faith-based? Like, do you think that this is God giving you discernment? And does that come into play when you're making decisions in terms of your businesses and all of the
Mhm.
things that you do on the daily, your podcast, etc.? Can you tell us a little bit about that? The discernment and where it comes from and how you use it in business.
Oh, I use it a lot in business. He guides me when to take a break, when to
Yeah.
when to
Yeah.
go, and just dealing with like people overall. Discernment isn't something that everyone has.
Mm,
It's something that you have to build up
mm,
for yourself to recognize that. And that comes from you actually healing yourself and
mm,
knowing who you are yourself. Fasting and like just recognizing just you as a whole. Because a lot of times we will develop characteristics from friends, family, and stuff like that, and it's really not who we are. So once I got to the part of me knowing who I am and took time out for myself and started to recognize a lot of things. I started to walk in my path and not get mixed in with other people because we naturally do it. It's not like we're mimicking or trying to be like somebody. So it helped me with my businesses to grow because I had realized that being me is what makes my business
Yeah.
successful, and not being someone else or doing something because someone else is doing it, or maybe that's a good idea, maybe I should try that,
Mm,
no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to be myself while doing it. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.
right.
So I always make sure I'm my authentic self in every business that I do. And that's what creates it to be so successful, because a lot of people become magnet towards me and realize who I am and what and how I am as a person, and it builds a lot of character, and it eliminates people even trying to say, oh, Vet is this way. I don't like her because
Mm,
of this, and this. But in reality, I've always been this person.
yeah.
So the person you're describing is a person you want me to be, and that's who you are.
Mm,
So you have to pay attention to that too, because people describe the characteristics of themselves. So I just always just be me, and that's how I run Life Her podcast as me. I don't try to be like other podcasters. I don't. I just do podcasting my way on how I know it. However, it is a lot of podcasters I would take advice from.
yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of them, they have like great advice on a lot of things, and they've gotten so far, and they do amazing things. But I still want to, do it my way, but add a little sauce of theirs.
Yeah. Add a little
Yeah,
sprinkle of yours. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
yes.
And how do you keep that balance with like, because, with your intention of living life to the fullest and having that discernment and oh my God, what
Girl, he's all in my way.
I like him. He's welcome. He's welcome. I'll interview him next
Yeah.
week. Um, but how do you keep like that balance between wanting to put out like good in the world, but also wanting to make a name for yourself and provide for yourself and wanting to like move forward in the business world, but then also because you have so much like philanthropic goals as well, like your women's program and just the things that you do, what you represent as a brand. So how do you balance the need for being an entrepreneur, but then also wanting to be yourself and wanting to live life to the fullest?
Even if I'm an entrepreneur going to events or interacting with people, I'm still gonna be myself. I'm still gonna be
Yeah.
me. If I'm in a room with a bunch of billionaires, millionaires, I'm still gonna be me because they still gonna be them.
Yeah, true.
They still gonna be themselves regardless, and I know how to um still be respectful, still know how to speak and everything. You'll be surprised how many people respect you for being
Mm,
you,
mm,
and they love you for being you, because it's like I don't have to sit and wait on you to start becoming yourself. You like, dang, I like, what you doing in my life? I don't like you. I'm just gonna be that off top. Like I just I don't I don't care what people think of me. Honestly, I don't. So if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. But I could say one thing: me being me has gotten me this far. I
mm,
could say that. I've had like a lot of celebrities follow my podcast, and they have much respect for me. They will check on me, I will check on them. We have like a mutual relationship. We don't talk all the time. It may be once every 6 months or every year or something, but it's just the fact of they know me, you know. So
Yeah.
it's a respect level, and most of everyone that I've interviewed on my podcast, they have respect for me, and um even behind the scenes, um if I'm interviewing them, we're talking, we're having a relationship. They open up to things that they normally don't tell people on other media outlets. They tell me, you know, how comfortable I made them feel and everything. So it's like it's it's the real thing over this way, because I can't be nothing else. I can't.
Mm. And so then, I do have a lot of my audience, and I'm sure a lot of your audience who will watch this live, who are striving to be entrepreneurs and wanting to do it authentically, genuinely. Where do people start? Like, how did you start?
Um, I just started off just sharing my entrepreneurship
Mm,
journey. And that's when I, you know, doing daycare and things like that, because a lot of people really didn't know I did so much. It's like I have an audience for one thing, audience for one thing and everything. So what I'm utilizing for Life Her
mm,
podcast is for them to know everything that I've done, because they be like, "Oh, you only podcast and you know this and that," and it's not. So I did start a vlog series on
mm,
my YouTube channel of my podcast, where people follow my journey on like different things of me opening up my daycare, going to business meetings, and interacting with family and friends. So I did open up that part of me. That's something different that I don't see in with most podcasters.
yeah.
So I have my podcast mixed in with people getting to know that. So I do this question answer type thing where I have someone, my friend in the background, he's asking me questions, because sometimes we see questions that people ask me. So he'll implement them in the video. So I'm gonna start doing those monthly, some question answers, so that people can actually, you know, get to know me and stuff and understand my journey. And then, you know, with me doing daycare, that's a whole nother thing, because I have a YouTube channel for that. And sometimes they mush in because people like, "Oh, I didn't know you did that."
Mm,
So that's when I get other entrepreneurs that want to chime in. So I'm actually, well, I can share with you. I'm going to be starting a podcast for
mm.
childcare.
Ooh.
So I started it already. I just have an intro, but I'm in these classes for my daycare, and I'm with so many um people that own daycare. So I'm like, let me just, and they want to be interviewed. So I'm gonna just do them with my podcast. So it's Vet the Child Care Therapist.
Ooh.
Because I've been through so much in childcare. So
Yeah.
I'm doing that also, but I balance everything out good. It's just you have to know when to say no, you have to know when to say yes, but make no your favorite word.
Mm. Ooh, make no your favorite word. It sounds like for you,
Yeah.
have an interest, you have a passion, you pursue it, you make something out of that, and you just have the time of your life doing it and forging connection
Yes.
wherever you go. It's not like you're not like, I'm gonna make $1 million. How should I make it? Let's start a daycare company. It's more so like, I like taking care of kids. I'm gonna start a business out of it. I'm gonna have the time of my life doing it, and the money will follow.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. And
That's exactly what it is. Because when I did my youth program for my girls, the money I made from my daycare, I was spending it on my youth program.
mm,
A lot of people thought I was getting funding.
mm,
I never got funding. I just had one of my friends, her brother, he's retired now, but he was in the NFL, and he donated 10,000 to me when I first started it.
mm,
And Other than that, no, it was 10, 5 or 10, but he donated. It was amazing. And um, that's probably like the only major donation I've ever gotten or funding I ever gotten from someone else.
Wow.
So
So how
I
did it work then? Like, I know you have money from your daycare, but I mean, there are still so many expenses. How do you create that then, those resources for
the
your
man
uh,
upstairs,
uh,
the man upstairs, you'll be surprised how rich he can make you when you're rich at heart. So the things of me helping his children, he was helping this child right here
wow.
to for me to actually keep going. Cause girl, I can't even answer that question.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, but all I know was him. He did it, and you'll be surprised what he can do when you at your lowest moment. Like I could tell you one thing. I would say my lowest moment. I had lost when I lost my husband. We had a place together, and I still had a daycare too. My daycare's in my home, so I moved out of that place and got all my stuff out of it. So I was just stationed in my house. Listen, from me being on break, I forgot to do a lot of paperwork when it comes to me doing daycare. So all my kids came off of my provider's attendance, and I wasn't getting paid. But for me not to lose my kids, I kept them coming, so they were getting childcare for free. So I'm watching these kids for childcare for free for a whole month. During that whole month, I'm trying to get everything back together so I could get my daycare back up and running because I my mind was gone. My mind
yeah.
was gone. So from me having a daycare that I lost during the pandemic, I'm like, how am I going to get some money? What am I going to do? I got a mortgage coming up. I got to pay this. I had to pay so much stuff, and I was so freaking broke. Like it wasn't nobody's business. I had no money coming in, zero from nowhere. So I end up just making a Facebook post, and I was like, hey, come to this sale. I'm selling my daycare stuff. Girl, I made like $4,000, $5,000
Wow.
in one day selling that, and I paid all of my bills, and I gave myself some spare time and paid my mortgage ahead of time too, and my car note and everything, because I was like pushing repossession and everything.
Wow.
So I paid all of that stuff, and then all of my kids started to come back on, and I was starting to get my money flow, and then I wrote down where I wanted to be with how many followers I wanted to have for the podcast and listeners, and I put down I wanted my daycare to be star rated, and I just wrote down so much stuff that I wanted, and then I started to look back, and now I want for nothing. Like I had kids rolling in. What I did was I ended up putting my daycare on Google and getting a website together for it. Started a little bit of marketing through there and through the Better Business Bureau. I started doing so much stuff because I was like, I'm at my lowest point. I need to grind. I need to get this money so
Mm,
I can pay these bills because I had spent all my money paying for my husband's funeral too. So I'm just like, oh, but girl, ever since then, I got an overflow of kids.
wow.
I got an overflow of now I'm teaching classes and I'm in my podcast studio and people coming in for that. So it's like everything just started to grow from there. And I just been obedient and I've been thankful. I've been resilient. I've been any and everything possible of who God wanted me to be. And things is working out just fine.
Wow. Mic drop. Like that, that was amazing. That was why I was so excited to have you on because you've had these major losses in life, and yet look how far you've come. Like, you kept taking aligned action, your faith kept you strong, the
Yeah.
resilience it takes to like move forward, because a lot of people, it's not true that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's like you have to have that intention and
You
that
do.
awareness and that desire to make something out of it, like turning that pain to purpose, which you've done so beautifully. And I just want to congratulate you on your whole journey. I know that you continue to inspire so many people, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering for you, what's next? Like, what are your next projects, next steps, anything you're willing to divulge to the audience?
I ain't gonna lie. My next move is I want to be a multimillionaire. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, that is my next goal. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I love watching those videos when people randomly give to people. I
Yeah.
want to. I want to do that.
The girl
I want
said,
to.
I want to be a multimillionaire, and not like, oh, because I want to buy my mansion. She's like, I want to give, you guys give out the money. Like, okay.
Yes, I do
Right.
for real. Like I really want to randomly give to people. So since I stopped my daycare, I mean not my daycare, my youth
Yeah.
program, I am now building my youth program cuz I don't really want to mentor cuz it takes up a lot of your time and you have to do a lot one-on-one and these kids are kind of different.
Yeah.
So with me doing that, I want to create where I can help someone pay a bill, I can help someone with college books, or if they get low on a college tuition and things like that. I want to have opportunities like that. Maybe prom, just anything. It's just different things that I have listed where people could apply for it, and I could be able to bless someone once a year for each thing, or utility bills every month. I could help at least one person. So I really want to do something like that. And that's my multi-millionaire goal. Once I reach that part, I want to really tap into that a lot, a whole lot.
Wow. That is so cool. And I I resonate a lot with your story. I was just telling my business coach the other day how I want my business to be philanthropic. The point is to be able to give back however I can, because I've been so blessed to have mentors along the way that have helped me heal. And like, my mission is really helping people who've had these neglectful, traumatic, kind of abusive backgrounds, and helping them build themselves back up from the ground up, all the way to self-worth, self-esteem, learning to communicate, learning to shed layers of hurt and regulate their nervous system and create that mindset of steel like yours, where you're like, yes, life can hurt,
Yeah.
but life can also be good, and we can hold both. We can hold the
Mhm.
grief, we can hold the glimmers and the joy and the love. And so I think that what you're doing is so inspiring. I would love to be you when I grow up. Like,
Aw.
I think it's so, so beautiful. And I'm very thankful that you said yes to be on my live, like, this little girl on Threads. Hi, I would love.
Girl, no. You know what's so crazy with you even just saying that? A lot of people don't know. Yes, I have interviewed celebrities that people may know, but I have publicists that reach out to me and I interview their clients where other platforms won't even accept them
Mm.
because they don't have history or whatever. So like I am all for crawl before you walk, folks. Y'all, they welcome over this way. Yes, because it's like you just never know where they at or where they're going. And I've seen a lot of people that been on my podcast and now, girl, they on all these major magazines and getting features, even Forbes members. And I'm like, Oh, they were on Little Old Me podcast, and
Amazing.
it's like, come on, like it's amazing. You have to be good to people. You can't act like that. Like you're not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah, I love that humility. Like that, the fact that you wanted to even, you were so, not only did you like answer my message, but you were like excited about it. And like that made me like you even more because it's like that humility, that not like looking down on me because I have less followers or because I'm not as successful. Like you didn't see it that way. And that was really touching for me as someone who's like starting out in business and like really excited and like looking up to people like you who've like done all of these crazy things.
Girl,
And I'm
you'll
like,
be surprised how many people got the same amount of followers as you, but they got 10 million downloads on their podcast.
mm,
So it's just to a point, you never know who's who. You never know who you're talking to. You always have to be respectful and honor people and, you know, love one people because you never know who you're talking to. And being nasty because you don't see the followers or you don't see a person driving this fancy car, have fancy materialistic stuff and all that. They could be a whole millionaire and billionaire and you don't even know it. So
true.
you just always have to be kind to people. And even though you saying you have like a small following, you could have millions just listening to your podcast,
Mm,
and you shouldn't even think of yourself that way. Like, I know you're saying it and you feel that way, but you're already there. It's just about you speaking it into existence and speaking it like it's already happening. So you always have to speak for, even though it's like for the future, but you have to speak for it now because it's happening now because you're doing the work now.
I do feel a lot of the momentum building up, and I think I've learned along my journey to like change how I measure success instead of saying like because when I started this page, I was so like mesmerized by followers and likes and like the
Hmm.
dopamine hits that that gave my brain. And it's like I've come to a place where I'm trying to, I'm human like everybody else. I can get greedy. I can get want to be significant and seen and heard, and like especially when you work so hard on your craft. But what I've
Yeah.
the more I do work, the more I'm just in love with the work itself and not the money, not the views, not the this. Like I do it because I am a creator coming down from a creator, and I cannot help but create and put out love and good work.
Right.
But about what I get from of that or the recognition. Of course, I want to manifest abundance and freedom for myself, but that comes secondary to fulfillment and authenticity and growth and healing. So I really resonate with what you're saying. And I think it's so, so beautiful that you see that and that you are not looking at people from a follower basis, but more so like who they are as a person, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
That's what matters the most. And even though you have those feelings, I want you to know that's normal. So don't think it's not normal and you're doing something wrong because you feel that way. It's totally normal. I've had it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's like to a certain extent you'll realize how much your character and other people's character matter more because you could build such a strong, deep foundation and you will have a safe space when you do rise up because as you rise up, you're going to seek a safe space, and a safe space is going to be hard to find once you get up there. And that's why they say at the top is lonely. It literally
Mm,
is. It's very lonely, but you have to have those people that you could go to and talk to with the same mindset and direction for you to get through having those feelings, you have to.
So I want to end this conversation in a similar way that it started because now you're talking about the circle and stuff like that. Would you say that your circle has changed throughout this whole journey a lot. Yeah.
My whole circle
Mm,
changed. Like
mm,
most of the people I used to be around, they're not even in my life no
mm,
more. Like
mm,
literally most of them.
mm,
Like everyone, like it's just they didn't like my growth, or they felt some kind of way about anything. It just didn't matter. I entitlement, feeling obligated for a lot of things, and I've helped people so much. They came to a point where they thought that's what I was supposed to do
right.
for them.
Right.
So it messes up the relationships that you have with people, and it doesn't mean that it was like intentionally done. It's just something that naturally
Yeah.
happens when God is elevating you and taking you to the next level.
Mm,
I didn't take none of it personal, and it's so crazy because some of them trying these past few months been trying to come back into my life,
mm.
and I don't want none of that.
Yeah. Hear you. I hear you. It's like, I think, do you see that as sort of a test to see how far you've come, or do you just see it as like people trying to then
it,
leech off of your
it, it
success now?
could it could be all of the above. It could be a test, it could be a leech, or it could be to a point where they realize how valuable you were in their life, and how, like, sometimes people believe you are, just because they're around you, they feel like they were the reason for your success,
Mm,
because
yeah.
I helped you pass out those flyers. That's why you're where you're at today. Like, it can be the smallest thing, but then they realize when they try to do things on their own, and when they try to do certain stuff, they're not going anywhere, and then reality set in on them having relationships with other people, realizing that they really didn't these people really don't love me for real. She really loved me, she really cared about me. So that they can be that too, but I don't want no parts of it.
Yeah.
And once you gone, you gone. Mm-mm.
Mm,
I don't, because it's like monitoring spirits. That's what you call them. I
mm.
don't I don't want anybody monitoring my spirit or anything. I'm cool,
That's so
because it blocks you. Like sometimes the devil could send people and you don't know what for. You could be genuine about it, and you have a blessing coming. A lot of people that have like demonic ways and evil ways and stuff, they see your blessing coming before you do. So if these people coming into my life, it makes you think like, okay, what do they see that I don't see yet? What you want? So it
wow.
makes me put people at a pause, because your blessing gonna be at a pause once you go backwards and bring in these people back into your life. And I ain't letting nobody stop nothing that's coming from me.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That was so interesting. I've never heard of that, of it put that way. Like people seeing your blessing before you even see it. And so then they're coming back in. Oh, that was so interesting. So I'm wondering, as we leave off the audience, is there any insight you would like people to take away from this conversation or just from you as a person?
um I just want people to just, like, as I was saying, that's more valuable to me during this whole conversation, is people to start living a life,
Mm,
stop procrastinating off your dreams,
yeah.
um get off your ass and do what is for you, because nobody isn't going to do it for you. Can't nobody save you. You cannot get nothing accomplished if you still sitting there. If you still mad and you still sitting there, it's still gonna be sitting. So you got to start getting activated and start moving and getting things together for yourself, because life is going fast. It's about to be September already. It
My
was just January,
God.
So it's like, what you waiting on? Like, get it moving, because that's like you saying, "Oh, I'm gonna work out. I want to lose this weight. I'm gonna start Monday." And then Monday turned into now I'm gonna start next Monday, you know? So it's like you just do it. Like even if you want to fail. I personally I have a subscription membership for my podcast that I really just now tapping into. And I meet up with business owners weekly, and I meet with one of them in person here at home in Akron, Ohio. And I give them all my information, all my gems. I don't gatekeep or nothing. I just feel like what's for me is for me. If I'm sharing this information, you gonna do what you want to do with
Right.
it. If you surpass me, I did a great job.
Oh, wow, I love
I did a
that.
great job helping you to get exactly where you wanted to go, because it makes me see how I'm worth too, you know?
Mm,
So it's like and that's where I'm at right now. Just trying to help people tap into who they are and getting to where they gotta go. You know, they have to, cause ain't nobody gonna tell you. Like people just be gatekeeping like crazy. I don't understand it at all, but and God gonna bless those who need to be
mm,
blessed.
wow, that was so, so lovely, especially coming from a place where it can be easy when you start out in business or however long you've been in business to come from a place of greed and wanting to like hold on so tightly to what's yours and what you know, when really exactly what you said, if it's for you, it's for you. Ain't nobody's gonna like come and grab it for
Yeah,
you. It's for you,
yeah.
past you. But I find that so inspiring that you're like, not only do I not do that, I don't resonate with that. I don't even understand. You're so sure that you're like, I don't even understand what that's all about. Because like from my view, I'm like, I totally get it. I can get jealous. I can get greedy. You know, it's a human nature. But for you,
It's
yeah.
normal.
So for you to even be like, I don't even understand that. I'm like, damn, because you're hard. You're
Thank you.
I love that. So, as we wrap up, where can people find you if they're looking for you, if they want to connect with you, if they want to work with you? How can people get in touch?
You can get in touch with me on here in my DM of Life Her Podcast. And even if you're on my page, you can see my personal one, Life Her Vet, on there. And you can also email me. It's in my bio and everything. You can click on an email. You can email me. I don't respond to my emails. My little cousin do. I am not great with my emails and everything, but she always do come to me and let me know like what's going on, what should be done and stuff as far as communicating and all of that. I'm just not good with emails too great because I have so much stuff going on. So they could contact me through there and just I communicate. I'm a communicator. I'm not about to be brushing nobody off or nothing. So any way on this app, anybody can contact me.
Mm, this was juicy, juicy, juicy. Thank you so much to the audience for listening, to you for showing up and for taking the time to speak your wisdom and share your beautiful, empowering story. I know that this is going to inspire my audience and yours. And I'm filled with gratitude for this beautiful conversation that we've had. And I hope we can stay in touch.
Yes, for sure. I got a question for
Yeah,
you.
go for it.
So these lives, do you keep them on Instagram or do you take them off and put them on YouTube or something?
You know what? Like, you're not the first one to ask this, and I'm like, I know I should be doing more with it, but like, I have not yet. But I do want to, and yeah, my intention is eventually to do.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, I started off with lives like
Hmm.
this, and ironically, it was just one day. It was like earlier this year or last year. I scrolled to look at some of my interviews, and the sound is gone. So you have so I'm recommending you to save or download like a lot of your stuff
Yeah.
and put them on like a jump drive or something like that, or upload them on a YouTube channel
Mm.
or something, because you don't want to lose them.
Yeah, I just wrote that down because I'm like, thank you for the heads up. Like
Yeah,
that does a lot of sense because
yeah.
there are so many different glitches that can happen on any platform.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I've seen like some of my past interviews. They won't like play good. They look like the view of it looks terrible. It looks so horrible. So make sure you just think of a different outlet. And you got Spotify podcasts?
I ain't got
Do you
nothing yet. I've been doing Instagram live so far.
really? Because your videos, like this video, if you save it on like a jump drive like this, like if you save it on this, you could download that video on Spotify podcast, and people could watch this and they could also audio listen to it.
I will definitely be doing that. So thank you for that.
You're welcome, because you have some great interviews. I watched a lot of
You,
them, and they're
oh my,
yeah, like when you be live and stuff, they be really good. You be having some like amazing people, and you don't want to lose that. So maybe you should start uploading them and get you like some titles and everything, and start getting it on the audio. But if you need some help, just let me know. Just hit me up.
you are a gem. Thank you so much. I'm obviously going to add you as a collaborator so that people can watch this beautiful interview all about you and get to know you. And I'm going to work on downloading it myself so that I can do it
Yes,
with them.
yes,
You for
you
them.
better do
Yeah.
it.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome.
It was so beautiful to have you on, and I will definitely be staying in touch.
Okay, see you later, Bree.
Bye.